Come on in. Let me see if I have this thing set up. There you go. That will. Good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The Prime Minister of America. The Prime Minister of America. You're going to like this. It is quite a thing to realize. A few minutes late. Hope you had a great weekend, everybody. And a week from today? Flag Day coming up fast. Flag Day. And I'll preview for you. I'll talk about it later in the week. General Flynn has a new initiative that he's rolling out. Raise the flag, say the pledge. Raise the flag, say the pledge. So that'll be fun. You'll love it. And speaking of that, let's say the pledge first. And here we go. Let's get our flag up. If you have a flag, you can stand and face. Otherwise, please feel free to face this one. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Okay, so the most powerful man in America, well, maybe, looks like it's Joe Manchin. Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. He is the lone Democrat that will speak up publicly and say that the Biden plans are a little bit out of hand. And so over the weekend, he said the attempted takeover of all the federal elections by Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and Schumer, he wouldn't go for it. It was a huge deal. It's bound to be. It's going to cause massive amounts of angst in the progressive wing of the party. But here's the thing: I'm being serious now. Joe Manchin is in charge of the Democrats. He's the only one that can allow the biggest things. Now, Joe Biden is doing a million things through regulation and through the enforcement powers and all that. But in terms of the biggest things that they want to do, pack the court, add states to the union, the voting rights grab, tax increases, Joe Manchin is the guy. Now, here's this sort of funny thing. He obviously revels in it. You know, Joe Manchin is a Democrat from West Virginia who has he was governor, I think, for 2 terms maybe. And so he's been in politics forever. So I think he's in his 2nd term in the U.S. Senate. He's a professional politician. He knows what he's doing. And he's clearly embraced the role of the Prime Minister of America. He's not afraid of it. The irony here is if you listen closely and read the newspapers, most of the Democrats say that there are 5 or 6 other Democrats that agree with him but don't want the attention. Because in West Virginia, Joe Manchin's positions are very popular. You know, to be the guy that stops insanity from the left. West Virginia is a very conservative state, and he's kind of won his elections sort of barely because he's been doing this kind of thing. So Joe Manchin's in charge, and it makes you wonder what's he going to be willing to push for? Because if he won't break the filibuster, if he won't be the leader in that push, if he won't say we have to do this for that, none of the others are going to want to do that, right? In other words, the senators aren't going to go out on a limb if Joe Manchin says he's going to saw it off on them anyway. So it's big news. It's big news. And at the same time, while there was an election last week in, I think, New Mexico for a special election, I think one of the members of New Mexico delegation was appointed to the Department of Interior, maybe. I think that might be one of the positions. And it was a Democrat seat by 30 points, and the Democrat won by 25 points. So there was nothing there. But the bigger race in the last few days was in Fort Worth, Texas. People believed, lots of the political types believed that Fort Worth, big city, I think almost 1 million people, could flip from a Republican mayor to a Democrat mayor. And it didn't happen. The Republican won handily. And so the question people are saying now is, are you seeing the start of the winds changing against the Democrats? And I think it's probably likely if you're watching all the things that are happening and you're worried about things that are going on. But I don't believe that we have any reason to be confident it'll end up that way in November 2022, because I'm not sure what's going to happen with the elections. I just don't trust that there won't be some major hijinks or shenanigans. All right, final point. Over the weekend, I had an exchange with a friend of mine, and we talked about China. And he made the argument, and I wish I could find his text. He made the argument that if you're the Chinese, you couldn't design a better path for for China in terms of influence over Joe Biden. He's, backed off on most of the rhetoric. He's not as aggressive. He's not talking about fentanyl. He's not talking about these various things. And then my friend went through a whole bunch of lists, a list of a whole bunch of things. Let me see where it is. It was really compelling. His point was, at this point, if you're the Chinese, you really are confident. You're looking at this and you're saying that hold on, let me get this for you. Yeah, so this is what he said. My friend said, cancel the XL pipeline. So that was the safest way to move oil in America. Cost 70,000 jobs, and also cancel drilling in the Arctic, 2% of the area there, extremely remote. And then he said the energy costs go up, and we have to depend on all the other entities. Now, the other one is that the Chinese cheat on all the regulatory, the environmental rules, and now Joe Biden is doing all these things with electric cars and solar, and forcing the cost and the regulatory burden to go up. And then the U.S. miners. So there was we were trying to get the restrictions on U.S. miners. This is my friend's text, to allow us to get rare earth minerals. The Chinese have been buying up the rare earth minerals all over the world. So if we can make it easier for us to get them, that would be better for us. So we don't have to rely on the Chinese or the world market. And he didn't do that. Nuclear power plants, the Chinese are racing to get online with nuclear power. Space, the Chinese are racing into space, and Biden is at least not getting in the way too much. How about this one? Did you know this? The Biden Treasury Department lifted the Trump embargo on U.S. investment in Chinese companies that are tied to the Chinese military and who have been stealing our technology. They lifted it. The Biden administration lifted it. The Biden administration is no longer investigating U.S. universities and colleges, so they dropped that investigation, the Confucius Academies. And, it's enough for now. The point is, I just got off the phone with a different friend, and he said, everybody thinks the Chinese are looking at Taiwan and saying, maybe this is our window. And this is our window to either exert massive influence politically or even worse. So a million things happening. But the Prime Minister of America is Joe Manchin. And thankfully, I'm pleased to say he's been on the side, I think, of the American people on this one. So that's a good thing. And all right, everybody, we'll be back tomorrow. Sorry for